welcome back to KangBrosTV. This is a reaction video to Joe Saunders versus Martin Murray. Straight into it, Joe Saunders, so one-sided this fight, so one-sided. Martin Murray, I think you got the most respect in the whole of boxing from all fans all over the place. No one, has ever said a bad thing about Martin Murray when it comes to his grit, how solid he is, his defense, everything, and even his CV.
Hard as nails.
Yeah, and the people he's fought as well is incredible. Good CV, and he's one of the people that they say that never became a world champion.
You should have beat Martinez, but you're away from ends, and you should have won that one.
Was it Felix Stern as well?
Yeah, Felix Stern. Yeah. But the one that he should have won was the Martinez fight, and he would have gone and taken Martinez out at the peak of his powers. Yes, this fight with Joe Saunders was supposed to happen before, but thank you for the memories. But look after your health now, my brother, because that 12 rounds, he didn't need that in his life.
Do you know what? Like, I find myself like we sit on this channel here, and it's quite often now we're saying, you know what, just look after yourself, and it's done. You know what I mean? We don't want it to be that. We don't want it to be a common thing that we're saying to fighters that, you know, who are we to say that?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Sometimes I'm just worried that, you know, the circles around these fighters, I mean, what are they telling them? I think Martin Murray knows it's done. You're 38 years old, and in that fight, there was not, did you feel at any stage that he was going to win that fight?
I heard someone, I think Eddie Hearn mentioned it. He said, oh, he had a couple of rounds at the end. No, he didn't. Let's be honest, he did not have a couple of rounds at the end. What had happened was, in those couple of rounds towards the end, he did more than what he'd done in the rest of the fight. And that's it. That doesn't mean that he was good. It doesn't mean that he was going to win at any point. And I think it's sad because it's one of those you look at and say, you know what, yes, it was perfect for Joe Saunders because that is a perfect fight for him. Like, you know, a guy that's not really going to, who's a bit older, he's not got as much, you know, left in the tank. So yes, from that perspective, yeah, it's a perfect fight.
But he's going to give you rounds as well.
Yeah, that's it. He's going to give you rounds and it's going to give you, listen, Murray could still fight on and he'll beat people in that division. Let's make no bones about it. He'll beat people in that division. But it's like, what is it that you want from it? Are you doing it for the last few paydays? Then fine. Like you say, never going to tell someone what to do with your lives. If you love it, that's your love and passion. But if someone around you says, you know what, I reckon you could take this matey out. For example, let's just say he goes into Triple G, just for argument's sake, yeah? Oh, yeah, Golovkin, bro. You can bang him, yeah? And then he goes in there and gets clarted.
Didn't he fight? I can't remember if he
fought. I thought he fought Canelo. But my point being is like you say, what is it that people are telling him around him? Because that's it now, I think. Like, you know.
Yeah, and you got respect from everyone. It's nothing like you're going out on a negative. Like everything you've done you're solid, solid as anything. Like you said, hard as nails. One of the guys that you know he ain't gonna quit or he ain't gonna do none of this. He's gonna go all the way through. Yeah. So full respect to him. But I think the time is done now. For Joe Saunders, like you said, it was perfect in terms of getting the rounds in, and his performance as well was very good. And pretty much from start to finish, I was impressed. I don't know about you, but the way he mixed it up from body to head was disgusting.
Yeah, his footwork was ridiculous.
Absolutely, and this is when people say about, you know, Joe Saunders how skillful he actually is, and he actually showed it. Like,
and I get it,
and the speed as well, quite faster.
The American fans, a lot of people have said to us that you lot are on Joe Saunders for no reason. He's shit. He's a slick boxer. He's a top boxer, and he's just. I know he hasn't covered himself in glory in the past, but he's a top fighter, and this is what I'm saying. Like, you know, that was the performance that he needed to kind of show people, say, listen, I ain't a joke, bro. Like, you know, two-weight world champions, that's not something to be, you can look at and say, whatever. Listen, he had the Canelo fight, things didn't work out. Now we've got Callum Smith fighting Canelo, but Joe Saunders has now put himself right back up there again. But he needs to stay at this level. And like, I think we touched upon it earlier about in between fights, the geezer blows up and likes to enjoy his life. Listen, he makes his money. So I ain't going to tell someone what they shouldn't do. I'm not out here looking like a waxwork myself. But what I'm saying is, if you're a professional boxer and you're at that level, like, come on, this is the time now. These are the next 5 years. All it's going to take for the next 3 to 5 years for you to just be on job. Don't blow up and turn into a bowling ball. Keep in shape. Stay sharp. Because trying to budge weight is hard. It's hard graft. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking that, you know, this is the best. This is the highlight of his career now. He's coming into the best years.
And there's fights out there for him.
Yeah.
Like, you're in the perfect weight division to find good fights. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at Andrade, you look at the Charlo brothers, you look at Canelo. There's so many that you can possibly do. If Triple G's still doing his thing, I know he's fighting the same night as Canelo and whatnot. Even those are still there for money making.
Of course.
But like you said, now he needs to be busy, and he can't. And Eddie Hearn has to deliver here as well. He plays a big part in this as well.
I don't think Eddie Hearn is going to let him down on that front, and that tells you everything about the label. Listen, at Matchroom, we've got the fighters. But I think, like I said, he's got to be careful. And also, people that are around him, his PR team, whatever, just take care of him. I know he says and does mad shit sometimes. Just manage that, because you've got serious talent on your hands. He's arguably one of the best boxers that we've got out of this country. And people might say I'm hyping him up. I don't believe I am. I think he shows that he's a top level fighter.
Look, anyone I think who knows boxing properly, you know, in your heart of hearts that Billy Joe Saunders, he's the one guy that for me, like I'm a huge Canelo fan, like huge, and he's the one guy for me personally. I think that he could cause problems for Canelo because of his style. I still believe Canelo wins, but I would love to see that fight. When people talk about the fights you really want to see right now, it's Bud versus Spence and Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. They're the two big fights I want to see. Obviously, the heavyweights you want to see the mix, but they have been going on for ages. But those two fights for me alone, massive fights. And so, I mean, do you think that Billy Joe Saunders has what it takes to beat Canelo? Then that's the question.
No, I think he would cause him a lot of problems, but I just think Canelo would just have a bit too much. Now, if you ask me, I'm a big Triple G fan. I love Triple G. Do I think Billy Joe Saunders has the tools to beat Triple G? Then yes, I do. I think so because I think he's quicker than and Triple G loads up and he's a knockout specialist, wants to knock people out. Whereas I think Billy Joe Saunders' footwork is electric. People don't give him the credit for his footwork. So I think that's a better fight for Billy Joe Saunders. I think Canelo might be a bit too much because listen, Canelo's a freak, mate. He's a freak. Like what he's done in the sport of boxing, whether it's all above board, I don't know, but what he's done as achieved is something else. And I think you don't go and beat Kovalev. Do you know what I mean? And then come back down to fight the rest of them. Do you know what I mean?
Like, so yeah, anyway, like I don't want to say like because I'm a huge fan of Canelo anyway. But as I said with the Triple G, I totally agree with you as well. I think Billy Joe Saunders can beat Triple G. He's been calling out Triple G for a long time. Even
stylistically, it's a better fight.
Absolutely, and he's been calling him out more than he had or longer before than he had done with Canelo because he knows. And I think Triple G knows that as well. I think he knows that Billy Joe Saunders can fight.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fight.
So. As I said, I hope they get done for Billy Joe Saunders, but that was a great performance. Let us know your take on the Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, that's the question I'm going to ask on the video, so it'd be good to know what your take is on that. Obviously, he's fighting against Callum Smith, which is a very interesting fight in itself. But that fight alone, I want to hear what people think. Do they think that Billy Joe Saunders can actually beat Canelo? I know one of our cousins so hardly believes that because he's not a huge Canelo fan, which is baffling for me. But yeah, that's the question I'd ask.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to see. And what do people think? Do you reckon it's time for Murray just to say, listen, thanks very much, and that's it? Or what's people's thoughts on that front? What do people think about Billy Joe Saunders' performance? Is that and this is the question to people across the pond, the American fans? Do you think that this guy is anywhere near the level that he needs to be? Does he beat the Americans out there that are holding belts? I'm really intrigued to hear what people's perspectives are that aren't from the UK to see where they rank Billy Joe Saunders.
So until the next one, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and definitely comment. Peace.